wabarakatuh. Good morning. My name is Nabila Rakhani Bilqis, and here I am with my group, which is Group 3. First, let me introduce my members. All right, here we have Izzat Vatila Aulia, Sarah Nur Fauzah, Tazkia Salma Aulia, and Wilma Fauziyyah Budiman. All right, now I'm going to present principles of teaching reading to very young learners, which we concluded based on explanations from McKay in 2014 and Vojnolovic in 2016. Here are the principles. There are 5 principles that we can conclude from those references. First, teachers and students should discuss the reading text before starting to read. Second, encourage students to respond uh, to the context of a text by asking questions. Third, getting getting the students to think of some the vocabulary items that will appear in the text. Fourth, the children are encouraged to discuss their answers in pair or in small groups before answering the questions in the class. And last, good teachers exploit reading texts to the fullest. All right, that's all the 5 principles of teaching reading to very young learners. The following slides will be presented by my friends.
All right, thank you very much, Nabila. Hello, I'm Sarah, and here is the activity that we choose for teaching reading to very young learners called Interactive Read Aloud based on McG and uh, Cadence 2007 and based on Nancy Taylor on her YouTube channel 2017-2018. Well, the first one is the teacher introduces the storybook to be taught to students, so the students will have some guesses of the storyline. Second, while reading the story, the teacher shows the illustrations in the book, so the students can imagine the events of each page. Third, provide models of sound effects, hand movements, and facial expressions that invite students to follow along. The purpose of this is to create interactive classroom and to build an engagement of the students to the story. Fourth, give students sentences, hand gestures, or sound effects to repeat. And again, here is to make sure all students can follow the interactions while the teacher is reading the story and to make sure the students have an engagement. Fifth, give students extension question to allow students to explore parts of the story. And last one, give rewards after class ends. So the students will be encouraged to learn more in the classroom because they are happy. All right, that's the end of the explanations of the activity. The following slides about the procedures and examples how to apply it in the classroom will be presented by my friend Wilma.
Okay, now I want to discuss the procedures for teaching reading for young learners. And there are 7 procedures. In the first procedure, the teacher will ask something that is related to the story that will be used. The implementation of this procedure, such as hello, hi everyone. Before starting today's reading activity, you know dinosaurs? Talking about dinosaurs, today we will read a story called Dinosaur Dig. Yay! The next procedure, the teacher will introduce the outline and the characters in Dinosaur Dig. In this story, you will meet Sonia who enters a game called Dinosaur Dig. In the game, she has a mission to collect all dinosaur bones. Then, in this story, you will also meet a boy who will accompany Sonia's adventures. Hmm, what do you think his name would be? Do you have a suggestion? Brian? That's a good name. Alright, we will call him Brian. The next procedure states the teacher states a short phrase that defines or explains a word while showing an illustration. Let me show you how. So, in this story, there are sentences. Suddenly, they heard a noise behind them. The ground began to shake. They heard a dinosaur roar. Run! This is when you demonstrate the word. Run, Sania, run! The next procedure will be delivered by my friend.
Alright, the next step that you can do after stating and showing an illustration is using dramatic movements and sounds in demonstrating the vocabulary. For example, in this story, there is a word run. So you want to teach run vocabulary to your students. You can demonstrate the word by doing this in a slow pace. Run. Yep, you can do this because the spoken word, which is accompanied by movement and also sounds, can help your students understand the meaning of the vocabulary that you demonstrate. Then, you can ask your students to follow your action. You can be a model for them. For instance, Sonia and the boy ran. You can repeat this sentence with different intonation like this. Sonia and the boy ran. Sonia and the boy ran. You can do this until your students say the same sentence as you did. Well, the following procedures will be explained by my friend. Dear Izzat, now it's your turn.
Yes, thank you, Tazkia. Okay, wow. Thank you for the demonstration. So, that was a way on how teachers can teach vocabulary to very young learners by giving an action model first. That way, students can imitate it or mimic it and indirectly also learn vocabulary. After that, to end the class, the teacher can provide extension questions that can engage stories. In this context is this story called Dinosaur Dig, with students live to discuss together, such as, have you ever been chased by animals? If the students answered yes, you can ask more with, what animals have chased you? Have you ever played a run and cage game? Or it could just be simply, do you like playing computer games? Because in this story, Sonia, the main character, went inside a computer to play a game. Also, please remember to always reward students before closing the class session, whether it's simply praising good job or giving virtual high fives, like, wow, that is very good, Justin, high five. You can do this to the screen if you're having an online class. This will give the impression of fun to students so that they will remember the lesson better and will be happy to return to the learning session again. You can also give a thumbs up like this, or even create a heart with your hands. Like, there are so many ways to do it, or arms above your head like this to appreciate them for learning. Or if you're in an offline class, you can give your students stickers. So, as we all know, that teaching reading to very young learners can actually use other methods such as storytelling, for example, but by using interactive read alouds, it is not just one-sided with the teacher doing actions and the students watching in the teaching learning process. It is double-sided. The student is connecting or actions to language and therefore retaining it much better than if they were to do it without the movement. All right, we are at the end of the presentation. Here is a list of references, as you can see, that we used for presentations, which you can view and explore further if you are still curious, and I hope you are still curious. Thank you very much for watching. We hope that our presentation can provide many benefits to you, and have a nice day. We are from Group 3. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.